Hello everybody, Caden here today with another episode of Wildlife Park. And today we are building a beaver enclosure because why not? They're very cute, small, and adorable. And I really wanted to get them in because I thought they were awesome looking. Which is honestly the main reason I add any creature into this zoo, because I think they're awesome looking and I had an idea, which I did. So I built this exhibit. Anyway, it's a pretty simple exhibit. Again, another one of the smaller ones, but this one was more just picked because this was an animal I really wanted to do and not out of convenience because it was a small animal. Anyway, yeah, it's a pretty interesting, I think it turns out to be a pretty interesting enclosure. There's some stuff you won't really be able to see until the end when I kind of show off some stuff. There's a really annoying chicken there that kept getting stuck in the build, which bothered me quite a bit. Maybe I'll have to turn off mobs. Well, I think I have mob spawning turned off already. I think I just have to go through and get rid of most of the mobs, but I might have to do that sometime soon. Anyway, as you can see, this build's kind of looking similar to how a lot of other stuff we've built has looked, and I think that's fairly simple just because, I don't know, at least with me, it feels like there's only so many types of animal fences you can really do before they all kind of start looking the same. Although I did kind of switch this one up, doing two main different types of fencing material, which was cool, I think. But yeah, so the main idea for this exhibit was to do somewhat of a pond with a beaver dam. That was the main idea. And as per usual, I was designing this in my head kind of a bit before I started recording, and then, well, I went into this with a basic idea of what I was doing, and then once I had that basic idea, I just kind of started throwing stuff down and seeing what worked. And I think it turned out pretty well. So this water feature takes up the vast majority of the build. I didn't end up wanting to do any sort of like water viewing area, and maybe I'll change that in the future if I ever come back to do another video on this build, which I'm starting to think we might do at some point. I'm starting to think at some point we'll have videos where we come back and work on old builds, like a Beaver Exhibit, for example, or maybe the pangolins, or something like that. Exhibits where, they're kind of old and we've gotten a bit better at building since we did them. But anyway, we're doing the usual, like riverbed kind of texture, just kind of making sure we're getting everything down, giving it a bit of variance, making it look interesting and cool, stuff like that. Usual mix of coarse dirt, gravel, podzol, and mud. Although I don't think I've ever put podzol on the riverbed before, which is a bit weird with this one, but you know what? It's fine, it's whatever. But yeah. Over there, you can kind of see it. Oh, I think I take a break before I really start working. I think I'm just placing podzol down for now. But I wanted to do a beaver dam with this exhibit, which once I started building, I realized, okay, now don't get me wrong. I know what a beaver dam looks like in my head. I just suddenly realized I didn't know how to translate that to Minecraft, because that was a difficult thing to figure out. Because usually it's like long, thin logs and sticks laid out on top of each other with like mud in between them. And that was really hard to figure out how to do. So you kind of see I've got this like weird crisscrossing hatched look with various log types. And I think that kind of worked. I was like, okay, this kind of works well. It looks a bit like a hobbit hole made by someone who just randomly went into a forest and collected random bits of wood. Then I started placing some slabs around to try and smooth it out, and then I decided dirt. And if I threw some mud on, threw some podzol in, I figured it would kind of look a bit better, and I think it does. It kind of looks a bit sturdier, I think. It's not the best, but I think I gave it the good old college try, as people say, and I think it turned out pretty good. I like it a lot. I did put in a rock wall because that's customary. We have to do, and it's tradition, you know. What are we really building a zoo exhibit if we don't put a rock wall in somewhere? No, the answer is no, we aren't. Anyway, after that, this was a pretty simple exhibit. I did decide something that I thought was kind of good to go with in the end, because I thought thematically it kind of made more sense, which is weird to talk about when it comes to exhibits. But there are no trees in this exhibit, which is the first time I think I've done that in this entire series. There aren't any trees in here. And the reason I did that is because I figured it made logical sense. The beavers probably would have eaten, or not eaten, but chopped down most of the trees close to where they're living in order to expand their dam more. So I figured, you know what? I think that makes sense. Yeah, so I decided not to put any trees. I did put a few stumps and stuff around just because I thought that looked a bit nicer. But the plan is when I come back to decorate this whole area in my spare time, I'll probably just cover the back area with trees, so there's still like a foresty feel to it. But the immediate area around the Beaver Exhibit is pretty darn treeless for the most part, which I think will look cool, or at least make it feel unique. And I think it does feel very unique, which I like quite a lot. We're doing the traditional like riverside things we always do. So we got the reeds and then a lot of the same plants. I'm really happy I discovered these like fallen leaves last episode. They're honestly amazing, and I think they definitely add a nice little bit of character to exhibits. But yeah, other than that, it's the same exact foliage as last time. And with that, I will go and catch back up with you guys when we do the exhibit tour. Alright guys, and here is the final version of the build, our little Beaver Exhibit. This one's pretty unique, I think, compared to a lot of the other stuff we've done recently. I do realize now, I kind of think it would have been a good idea to maybe put an underwater viewing area in, but I also don't think it's necessarily the most needed thing. Also, I have updated Zawa to the newest version of the mod, which came out last week, I think. Anyway, yeah, this is our little beaver build. What would I say are some of the... I'm trying to think here. Like, there's some stuff I should probably talk about that didn't really show up in the time-lapse. I guess the number one thing would be this lodge, which I'm sure I've gone on about in the time-lapse. But, yeah, this beaver lodge here is quite something. I realized while I was building it, I don't really remember what beaver lodges necessarily look like, which is why, you know, I started off with a few logs, and then I started mixing in dirt. And I think this looks all right. I don't think it's the best thing in the world, but I think it's all right for what I was going for. We've got several different types of trees. We got some mud and podzol packed in to like seal in gaps. We've got a couple of slabs in there, mostly just to kind of fill in gaps and make the transitions a bit smoother so that it's a bit nicer. There is an interior actually, and this I did get correct because I do know this is a thing where the entrance to the Beaver Dam is underwater, so you have to swim in to get in there, and yeah, I did that. Wow, you were having trouble, aren't you? Small beaver having trouble. They're really adorable. These things are so cute. I did make the decision, I was originally gonna put some spruce trees in here, but I decided not to at the very end, for the main reason of, well, generally, beavers tend to shoot down or take down most of the trees in the close vicinity to use them for both food and construction. So I figured it would actually make more sense just to not have any full trees in their enclosure, but instead fill out the background of the area with trees, because I don't know, to me that made a lot more sense. You guys might disagree, and feel free to, but yeah, I thought that was an interesting thing. I thought it looked kind of cool. Again though, these models are just super duper adorable. Anyway, what was it? Oh, so I had, no, I think I already mentioned that, never mind. Yeah, I'm really happy with how this exhibit's turned out. Oh gosh. So what was I gonna say? Something about the park layout. Okay, so, I have been looking at what animals we have left, and let me check just to, whoops. If I could spell, nope, we don't have yeah, I don't believe we have any form of mountain lion in this version of the mod because the natural fauna mod isn't updated. So, we don't have any of that. What we do have left for the North American stuff, I guess, will be the polar bear, I guess technically the Pacific walrus, but I kind of want to put that in its own little thing. The bison, the coatimundi, and I guess technically an owl. We do technically have the owl as well. So we have about 4 animals left for the North American section. So if you guys want to let me know which one of those animals you would like for next episode, let me know in the comments down below, and I'd love to do that exhibit. I will say, I mean, the jungle stuff, there is actually, well, I was gonna say there isn't as much variance, but there is a fair amount of variance between builds. But I feel like this North American section is just all over the place. Each exhibit's completely different from the last. We have this mountain valley for our bears. We have a cliffside river, or a cliffside thing for our eagles. We have a forest. We have a pretty dense forest for our moose. And of course over here we have a small hollowed out lake for our beavers. And I don't know, I really like this. I feel like this North American area definitely has a lot more character to it, just in the variety of exhibits we've made and the feels they all have. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, anyway, I think that's about all we have for today. So thank you all for watching. I hope you've all enjoyed. Make sure to leave suggestions for what animals we should do next down in the comments below. And until next time, guys, see ya.